I know I've seen a lot of interviews or with you at panels where you talk about how you got into voice acting, but how did you get into acting? Because I know that your first role, according to IMDb anyway, was it was a uncredited role on Robocop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if that was officially my first role because I'd been doing some Canadian film and television. RoboCop is one of those confusing things where people always ask me about it, assuming it's the film, but it was RoboCop, the TV series, because up here in
Oh.
Canada, that's what we did. Yeah, so I don't even remember that role because I was so young, but I, you know, I don't even know how I got into on camera. I auditioned for a play in when I was 14 and then I did it, and because I sang, it was like a big musical thing. And yeah, I said, yeah, no, I think this is what I should be doing. It's what I should do. And then I got an agent based on that play, and then it just started. Things got better.
Also, and your first real role it was that TV series that Jerry O'Connell did, My Secret Identity.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was a proper guest starring role. I actually did two episodes, two different roles, because it was on for a long time. I don't know how many seasons they got, but I think I was in the first season as one character, and then they brought me back as a different character towards the end. So it felt like a proper gig. Like it felt like a proper acting gig.
What was that
And
experience like?
what was that experience like? Oh man, that was like a gazillion years ago. It was good. I mean, I was young. I was up for it. It was I don't know. I don't even really remember it. Jerry was really super nice. Everybody was really nice. I know that early days, not even just that show, just any show,
Yeah.
um, just to acclimatize to film life, it's pretty stressful, man, because there are so many people involved. There's, crew members everywhere. There's production. You just want to do a really good job, and you have to be at certain places. You have to know your lines. There's a lot of technical things involved. And I think it looks easy when you see it on TV, but for people that don't do it, the amount of technical stuff that goes along with filming anything, it's pretty high stress, and you have to kind of get yourself acclimated to it. And I did. I think now that I'm older, I'm a little bit more confident with
Mhm.
any kind of role that I get. I don't feel as meek as far as, okay, this is what your position. This is where you got to start. The camera's going to be there. Make sure you know your line. Now it's more like I'm going to find out who I am, and then we're going to actually have a scene together. And I feel confident now about it.
Right. Well, I think that kind of happens just as you get older too, because I know you were like really young at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right. And I also think because majority of my career is voiceover, I
Hmm.
think I don't care as much. I do care, believe me, but I just don't have the same kind of desperation. In my 20s, it was, I'm going to be a movie star. Everybody look at me because I'm going to be a big star. And now it's more like, I don't know if it's because I have kids or because I actually am doing a lot of voiceover animation and stuff. I don't have that fever pitch. I
Hmm.
have, oh, what's this? Okay, this looks cool. Okay, you know what? I can do this. Oh, let's do this. And it's a different mindset.
Right. So right after that, when you were in Are You Afraid of the Dark, was that more comfortable for you, or was that kind of the same thing?
Now, I feel like Are You Afraid of the Dark was even before Jerry O'Connell's thing. Maybe they just put, because I had a bunch of stuff all at the same time, but that was the first time I really felt like, no, this is good. This is what I want to do, because I shot that in Montreal. So I live in Toronto,
Mhm.
and I shot that in Montreal. So they had to fly me there. And it was like, oh, look at me all flying somewhere to film something. And I was kind of the star of that episode.
Yeah.
What to do for that too. Yeah, I don't know, but it didn't feel as stressful as a show like Jerry O'Connell's show, because there were already characters
Hmm.
series regulars that I had to be all nervous about.
Right. Then after that, you were in some movies and TV movies like Boulevard and Getting Gotti, and you were also in To Die For.
Yeah, I
How did
was.
how was that with To Die For especially?
That was so fun fact also. Nicole Kidman is ridiculous, so stunning, so stupidly gorgeous that so she's like 6 foot something, she's tall,
Mhm.
and I'm 5'3" on a tall day. So I was such a small little part. I don't even know if you see me. I've seen the movie and I don't even know if you see me. I'm in a bar scene. They had to get an apple box, which I don't even know if you know what that is, but it's like a big stool for me to stand next to her because she's that tall. And she walked into the room and there were a bunch of extras and then there were some actors and we were all standing there ready to do the scene. And she walked in and there was like a halo around her. And because she was just that attractive. And she was so nice, so nice. And Matt Dillon was also nice. I chatted with him. And I don't know, that experience wasn't great for me because I was such a small part and it was Gus Van Sant directing and
Mhm.
he didn't talk to any of the actors. And sometimes you get this weird vibe anyway with extras, like people, like extras have their own directors. Was on there as, they considered it a principal role and whatever it was, but it wasn't. I had nothing. I had like 2 lines or something, but
Mhm.
he didn't even look in the direction of anybody except Nicole. And that's fine. It's fine. But when you walk away, you're like, won't, won't.
Right.
But it was still cool being part of that. That was a great movie. I was so happy that when I saw it, I was like,
Because wasn't that your first, in terms of on-camera roles? Wasn't that your first kind of really big movie?
I think so. Yeah. I think it was like the first big production feature film where there was a lot of money involved. So yeah, I think so.
And I know that was the same year that Sailor Moon started getting dubbed. So
Yeah.
I know the story of how you got that. But was there any initial feeling that you really didn't want to go into voice acting? You just wanted to remain on camera, like you weren't really taking it
There's,
seriously?
I don't know that I don't know that I ever felt, I just don't think I had any idea how important it would be in my life. I think at the time, because my boyfriend at the time was Tuxedo Mask, he was doing a ton of voiceover stuff, and that was great. He had huge success. And he was really pushing me to work to doing it. And for me, it was just like another thing. Like, yes, I need money. Money is good, and I'll try for this. And even Sailor Moon. And I know if you've watched any of them, I didn't even know what it was. It was insane to me. It was watching anime was like my head was exploding because I watched a lot of cartoons as a kid. Like I'm a cartoon person, but anime was different, and dubbing was even like crazier. So I never ever said, I'm gonna be, it never was, it just, I got super lucky. And even then, Sailor Moon, even though we did so many episodes I was very lucky to have the job and I was happy to go in all the time because it's always nice as an actor to say, if somebody says, oh, what are you working on? It's always good to have something because there's lots of times we have nothing. So
Right.
to say, well, I have a series right now, it's anime, and nobody even knew what it was back then. But it wasn't like some big important thing at the time. It was just a paycheck, and not even that great of a paycheck. It was a terrible paycheck because it was dubbing.
Mhm.
So, and Sailor Moon, like until the last 5 years, 10 years, not even 10 years, 5 or 6 years, was just a thing that I did.
Right. And there were some things I wanted to ask you about Sailor Moon that I didn't really see you get asked in panels very much, because I know you left and then Ray was briefly voiced by Emily Claire Barlow. What was the reason why you left, why you had to leave?
Well, first of all, let me say Emily's a good friend of mine, so that's
Yeah.
awesome. And then she came back and she was Venus, so it's all good. I went to Los Angeles,
Okay.
and because there was no money with Sailor, yeah, so that's what happened. I went to LA for 3 months, and they weren't going to pay me, and they weren't going to phone patch a dubbing series where I was getting paid $90 a day. Like it was so crap
Mhm.
that I said, well, I'm leaving. And they said, well, we're replacing you. And I went, okay, I'm sorry. And then I came back, and then they said, okay, you want to come back? And I said, okay, fine, I'll come back.
And another thing I noticed is that you and Linda, like at panels, you guys don't really, people haven't really asked you that much about your guys' interaction with some of the other voice actors that, you know, like the woman who replaced Karen in Mercury, I think her name was Liza Balkan.
I don't even know who that is. I didn't even
No.
know that Karen got replaced, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Like that, I think that's the first time even hearing it. Oh, actually, someone else mentioned something. That must have been right at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because Karen's she's an agent now. She's a voice agent.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
I don't
then,
know. Yeah.
The voice of Sailor Uranus, Sarah LaFleur.
Yeah.
Did you
I know
her?
Sarah. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
know Sarah. I don't know her well. She was at the same agency I had. When I went to Los Angeles, we went and saw a couple of movies together. She's super nice too. I just don't know her on a personal level. Like when we recorded Sailor Moon, we'd each record our own parts. Every once in a while, I'd record with Susan Roman. Sailor Jupiter and Mars always had a bunch of stuff together, but for the most part, we were just solo. Every once in a while, I'd be in with Moon as well. I'd be in with Linda or one of the other ones, and it was fine, but it was really pretty independent.
Mm-hmm. And initially, when you auditioned for the role and developed the character, was it completely your idea, or did you have to, were you ever shown the Japanese at all, or how did that work?
Oh, we were shown the Japanese. We were shown. And everything to me was off the hook, high pitched, super fast. I don't speak Japanese, so I have no idea, but it was just, and their eyes were big and everything was crazy. And then they said, okay, now we're going to do it. Here, I'll show you Sailor Mars. And again, she didn't sound anything like me. She was pretty high pitched. And then they said, just now you do it. And because I'd never done anything else, I wasn't in my mind thinking, how can I come up with this? What can this be? It was so frantic. And so things were just coming out of my mouth. And I think because I was so nervous, this is how I was going. And it just got to that kind of, that pace and that pitch. And actually, when Sailor, I think I've said this in panel, so if you have watched this, sorry for being redundant, but initially when we were all cast, Sailor Mercury, and so Karen and myself sounded too similar. Mm-hmm. So we went into the booth and we had to find our voices, and because we were so similar, we had to separate. And it just so happened that Karen's natural voice, like her natural voice isn't that high, but her Mercury voice got higher than my voice, which is why when I'm talking in Sailor Mars, I had to drop it. Anyway, I had to like find a different pitch, because a lot of if you ever hear anything else that I've ever done, like Alex on Totally Spies, her voice is totally always, and that's my natural, well, it's not my natural voice, but that's where I go. I gravitate towards like a higher pitch. I don't, maybe I don't, but I think I do.
So when you were recording Sailor Moon, was that throughout how many years it took, was that a completely pleasant experience for you, or were there some like problems that went on?
It was always a pleasant experience. I never had anything bad to say about it. It was hard. It wasn't easy situation. And the people that were writing in for the Rhythmo band, because now it's like karaoke, you see the words, you type them in. They were handwriting everything, so it was really hard to read. And it was technical, and we were screaming a lot, and we weren't getting paid a lot. So it's hard when you're making for an original animated series and you're creating a character, so they draw you after the fact.
Right.
Dubbing is not like that. So the only thing was, it was work. So it wasn't, if they said, oh, you got Sailor Moon on Friday to record, I would there and say, oh my God. I would be like, okay, but I'd be prepared for it. I tell my agent, I'm not doing anything else after that, because I need to drink tons of water. And look, I have PTSD that I actually have to drink water thinking about that.
So how, and then when the fifth season wasn't brought over here, how long did it take for you guys to start asking what's going on?
We kind of knew. I mean, they would have these weird hiatus periods where we had no idea how long it would be. But then and then it was a really big hiatus, and we just thought, this is probably the end. I don't know. I think someone told me it was the end. Maybe Susan or somebody said, no, they're not coming back for like because of censorship and everything, which made perfect sense.
Right.
So we kind of knew, and then it just went off into the abyss.
Yeah, I'm sure you know why now, like specifically, but I know that being on Cartoon Network in the U.S., that would have been really difficult for like some of the main characters in the fifth season when they transform from guys into girls. I have no idea how they would have been able to cover that up.
No, there was society, we just weren't ready for it. We weren't ready for it. Now it's, of course you can do it. It was just too much in the 90s. They didn't know what was happening with it, and it scared too many people.
And did you, this is going back to interacting with the other voice actors, how long did it take before you kind of became friends with the other voice actors?
I have been like friends with everyone. I see them all the time. So you assume, even though they're more acquaintances because you see them at auditions or you work with them, more so Linda and Susan and Toby, but Toby for like on-camera stuff maybe. Let me think if I work with anybody. Emily Claire Barlow and I do a lot of voiceover stuff together. She's a singer. She's amazing. If you don't know anything about her.
She is, yeah.
Find her. She's so good. But because we started doing Comic-Cons, I were besties with Linda Valentine. So we're like, she was here yesterday helping me with, and she's kind of like my bestie. I talk to her every single day, and the Blue Jays are out now. I don't know if you follow baseball, but we're out. So we were watching the game last night. They got knocked out. So yeah. And I'm friends with Toby. I mean, we're all friends. Like, it's not even a thing. But as far as friend, I chat with Linda every at my kids. So it's like she's like family.
Yeah, that's great. That's cool.
Yeah, cool.
I was just curious too if you ever really knew. I think her name was Susan Aceron. She passed away. Like,
I didn't know. No, I didn't. But I remember that because someone mentioned it, but I didn't know her. No.
Okay. Or did you ever interact much with Kristen Bishop?
I did know her. I saw her at auditions. We weren't like super friends or anything, but that was really sad. That affected a lot of people, like a lot of my friends it affected. But again, I didn't know her that well. It was just a sad situation.
Yeah. Yeah, because I thought she was amazing as Zoisite, even though it was switched genders. And like, I know that she did a bunch of other monsters of the day. Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, she was awesome. Zoisite, when people ask me, who's your favorite bad guy, it was Zoisite. She was awesome. She killed it. It was great.
And so going back to on-camera stuff, in '97, a movie I liked that you were in was The Real Blonde. That's a fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was fun. That was a good movie. And actually, Steve Buscemi, is that how you even say it? Because I've said it so many different ways, and then I asked him, I said, how do you say it now? I feel like I'm not saying it right. It's not Steve.
I think it's Buscemi, yeah.
I think it's Buscemi, yeah, I think so. Anyway, I hung out with him for a couple of days, and he called my mom, because he's awesome. Like, that was a really big deal for me. I had so much fun just because he was there, and his kid was a baseball fan too, I think. Anyway, and he called my mom. I said, call my mom right now, like, because this is kind of a big deal. And he called my mom and goes, hey, Dan, is this Dennis? Yeah, I'm working with your daughter. Your daughter's crazy. Did you know she's crazy? It was just like, it made my mom's year that he called her, so it was fun.
Awesome. Did you interact much with Matthew Modine?
I saw him. I may have met him, but no, I didn't interact with him. Not really. He was a nice guy. I just didn't. We didn't.
Okay.
I don't even know if we had scenes together. Maybe we did. He was there. I think I said hi to him. I think we were introduced, but that was it.
Was the way that you got that part and your part in To Die For, were they kind of similar how you got them, or was it totally different?
I don't remember. I honestly don't, like, it was an audition. I went to an audition. I had lines. They, whatever it was, that it was such a long time ago that I don't really remember. It wasn't a memorable thing. It was the
Okay. Okay. And then I know in between then and like 2000, you were in some Canadian TV series, like the Total Recall TV series,
yeah.
and you were in a Ricky Nelson made for TV movie.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
What was that specific role like?
So Ricky Nelson it was pretty good because I didn't feel the pressure. I was a guest star in anything because I was there. I was in a lot of scenes, but I was Ricky Nelson's brother. I was his girlfriend or his wife. I can't remember, but so I was there a lot. I had a few things here and there. So it was kind of a dream job because I got to dress up and it was really fun and it was a period piece and everybody was super nice. But it wasn't one of those pressure, like Grand Army. I have a series on Netflix. I don't know if you know anything about this. Do you know anything about this? Did I tell you about this? No.
Grand Army?
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
this is going to be big.
Okay.
It's going to be big. And it's starting on, anyway, I'll get into that in a second. Anyway,
Okay.
so it just was an easy job. It was easy. It was fun. I got to dress up. I didn't have to have the pressure of, okay, Katie, you better know 100,000 lines. This is like 6 monologues. Let's go. It was an easy day, easy few days.
And are most of the TV shows and movies that are Canadian projects that you've been in, or back then, were they mostly shot in Toronto, or were there several instances where you had to like fly elsewhere?
This is mostly everything I've shot is in Toronto.
Okay.
Grand Army that I just shot. I shot one episode in New York, and then the rest was shot here. But most of the cast is from New York. So, but I shot in South Africa once for a show called Sinbad. It was sort of like Xena, the warrior. It was kind of like one of those shows.
Oh.
And I was a warrior princess.
What was that?
Big
What was
giant
that?
ants were chasing us.
What was that like? Because I didn't know about that.
It was awesome because I was like in my early 20s and they flew me to South Africa first class. So it was fun. That was a fun, and it was ridiculous because I was in like warrior costume. The only thing was, in one of my scenes, I get thrown into the ocean, and what I didn't know then that I knew after they pulled me out of the ocean was, oh my God, it's so funny that you were fine getting in there because Gordon's Bay, which is right in Cape Town, is the largest great white shark breeding ground. So yeah, terrifying.
Yeah,
Terrifying after the fact.
yeah, that'd be freaky for sure. I'm kind
One
of
of my biggest fears. Snakes, sharks, 2 biggest fears.
yeah.
I would have looked that one up, but
Then I wanted to ask you about. I didn't know until like a couple months ago that you were in Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I don't know what that is. No, I don't think I was. Courage the Cowardly Dog? What was my character?
It was called Bunny. I think it was
What's
just
that?
like one episode.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Sometimes I do things and then I just do them. And if it was only one episode, there's a really good chance that I don't remember it
Okay.
because I just go in and I don't have a lot at stake with it. So yeah.
Well, because in a similar situation, I know that in one of your panels, somebody asked you about being in Knights of the Zodiac.
Oh yeah, I am in that. I did look that up. No, I was definitely in that because at first I'm sure I was like, nope, don't know what that is. But yeah, I was definitely in Knights of the Zodiac for sure. I think Shining, right?
Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah, that was me.
Was that dubbed around the same time as Sailor Moon?
Probably because it was a really long time ago. I think it was after Sailor Moon. If it was at the same time, if they were overlapping, it was right at the end of Sailor Moon.
Okay.
So yeah.
And another thing specifically with Canadian voice actors, are you friends with many like Ocean Group voice actors? Like, do you know what I mean when I say that?
No, I don't.
Okay, like people like Matt Hill and Janice Jode, Kathleen Barr. You don't know any of
No,
them.
I don't know who they are at all. No.
Okay.
They're Canadian?
Yeah.
Hmm. No, I don't know them.
Okay. Well,
Maybe I do. Maybe I'd recognize them if I saw them, but I don't think so.
okay. Yeah, I guess that because the Ocean Group was the name of the company in Canada that did all of the a bunch of anime dubs, but a lot of the voice actors have been in like a bunch of Western animation too. So I wasn't sure if you would be familiar or not.
No. Like Bakugan stuff, because I did Bakugan and Beyblade and all that. But
Yeah, wasn't that kind of like the next anime you did after Sailor Moon?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
Was that
In fact, I think Beyblade, the original. What's that?
was that a lot easier, or was it kind of the same, like equally difficult dubbing process?
It was easier because it wasn't Sailor Mars was one of the leads because she was so I had a lot more to do with Sailor Mars. Beyblade, the original, I think that was Emily. I think her name was Emily. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anytime I did Beyblade, Bakugan was hard because Julie had a really, really high pitched voice, and that was dumb. I shouldn't have done that because I was doing a lot of other series at the time, maybe Totally Spies even. So I got vocal nodules because I was constantly talking up here in this crazy voice, and it's not good because you're talking through your throat. So that's the only hard thing about it. Otherwise, I didn't have a ton of stuff to do.
Well, I noticed too in Beyblade that you not only were you like one of the mains, that you had a bunch of side voices and like playing little boy voices, and
Yeah.
yeah, that must have been a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's easy.
And you were also in Airmaster too.
Airmaster? Okay. Who was I in Airmaster?
I think it's one of the main roles, but it was the entire series, but you don't remember.
If that's the case, I probably did not do Airmaster unless they've changed the name or something. If you told me my character on it, then I'd be able to tell you. But because I've been in this business for 25 years and I've done a lot of those, Airmaster doesn't sound familiar. But
Linda was on it too, apparently.
Okay, then maybe we did. I did a lot of them.
Okay. And around that same time too, you were on Max and Ruby.
I was in the first season. They've had a few Rubies. The creator of the show hated me. She didn't like my voice. She thought I sounded too little, too small. Because my Ruby was, yes, Max, no, Max. So it was in a specific, and then as the seasons go by, you can hear that Ruby is now, yes, Max, no, Max. Like it's just a lower tone. So instead of asking, can Katie lower her voice? They just said, and actually I got replaced with Samantha Morton, who's a celebrity. She's a celebrity in the UK. The writer of the books was from the UK. And so in fairness, it wasn't that she just hated me and trashed me altogether. They wanted a celebrity. Then Samantha Morton didn't want to do it. And then when they came back, that's when she was like, no, Katie's voice is too high. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'm out.
Was there some conflict with the people then, or was that also?
It wasn't conflict at all. It was just, it's not conflict ever. It's more about it's preference. It's preference. And if Samantha Morton the year after that, so I hadn't done it for 2 or 3 years, then they come back and they recast. It's simple. They don't just assume Katie Griffin's still around or whatever.
Right.
It's just a matter of, okay, we need another Ruby. And I probably auditioned for it. I don't even remember if I went back to re-audition, but yeah, so that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Has there ever been any really tense or kind of bad experience when you've been recording anything and with voiceover stuff?
That's a good question. not from my end. There's never been anything. I'm just trying to think of, because I've heard horror stories with actors, and I'm trying to think if I was part of anything that was all chaotic. Not really. I can't honestly, I don't think there's ever been any conflict.
Okay.
There's been times with various directors for certain things, but I don't feel like it's my place. Like I could say I was in a phone patch with somebody who was in Los Angeles, some actors, and then one of the actors and the director didn't get along, but I wouldn't feel comfortable revealing that because I'm
Mhm.
not friends with the director, but I am friends with the actor, and I feel like, oh no, she might not want me to say that.
Right.
So, but I've never had any conflict where I've walked away going, that was terrible. I hate this. I'm quitting. I'm leaving. It hasn't been that way.
Well, the only thing I heard, not about you specifically, but I know there was one panel I saw where you and Lynn, somebody asked a question about Sailor Moon, and both of you said there were some like a lot of conflict with other people with Sailor Moon. Like,
Well, there was conflict with Sailor Moon. They had the producer of Sailor Moon was Parisian. She was from France, I think. I thought she was from Quebec or Montreal or something. But she was so high energy, like, Katie, what do you do? You know, like it was always crazy. But I had a relationship that I expected her to do that. So it was fine. But there were definitely actors that did not like that. And then she would be the type of person that would just say, okay, you're not going to be that part. And that was a terrible French accent. So I'm never going to have that accent with anything. Anyway, so she was like harder for some of the actors. So I guess there was conflict that way because there were deadlines. It was really crazy. She'd get in the scripts. We wouldn't even get the scripts ahead of time. And it would all be like, you have to go. We have to send it back right now. And so as actors, some actors are like, I can't work like this. It's crazy.
mhm.
I was like 23. I was like, let's go. Cause I play a lot of sports. It was just like, okay, we got this. Let's do this. We've got to get it done.
Do you remember how long a session would be for Sailor Moon 2 for you?
They would vary. Some were like an hour, some were 4 hours. Really, and then your voice would give out. So they couldn't really keep you beyond 4 hours because it was just too much screaming. Sometimes you'd be in there for half an hour, 20 minutes, because you only had a few things to do in an episode. But usually when they bring me in, I do more than just one episode. I think there were all like crazy episodes all put together. We had no context for any of the shows.
Mhm. I wanted to ask too, what was the like hardest part about voicing Ray for you? Was there anything that was really difficult?
I think the early days was hardest. As soon as I got a handle on who she was, it was fine. Because then I'm very similar to her, and it was easy because I would just go in and it would be pretty easy for me. The early days, because I was pretty wet behind the ears as far as anything voiceover, and that was my first animated series. That was a little trickier because it was a learning curve. You'd get in there and you'd need to know the dubbing. You'd need to know your character. You have no context for the storyline. You have no context. It was just, you'd have somebody like Nicole, the producer, you couldn't understand her all the time because her accent was so heavy, but she'd be like, no, she's mean to Sailor Moon. She's very angry. And so then they wanted Sailor Mars angry, and it didn't make sense to her face because her face wasn't really angry. So I think it was just a learning curve. I think I just got in there and I was like, okay. It was like a lot thrown at me at once, and it was compartmentalizing everything and sorting it out. But I think I got there.
What about with the transformation calls and the attack calls? Was that a lot of charging up, and like, did it take a lot out of you each time that you did that?
It kind of did. I think it was worse for Linda. I think it was worse. I think for me, it wasn't that hard until they would throw in, like, towards the end, Mars, celestial fire. Like, it would just be so many things, and you'd have to say it really slowly as she's spinning around. And so, I keep my neck doing that. I injured myself. That's hilarious. Yeah, so I don't know. It wasn't really that hard. It's hard on your voice if you have to do it over and over and over again. but there
Right.
was screaming all throughout the whole series. So I don't think the calls were always the worst thing. I think it was the whole series in general.
I was just curious. Are you very good friends with Terry Hawks at all?
Terry is, first of all, the nicest person you'll ever meet.
Hmm.
I would work with Terry. That was it. Like, then she got pregnant with twins, and then she wasn't doing the series anymore because
Right.
yeah. So yeah, Terry Hawks was the second Sailor Moon, right? And then it was Linda. So I worked with Terry. I saw Terry a lot, and then I never saw her in the industry again. So I don't even know if she's still a voice actor. I don't know what she's doing.
Oh.
So I wasn't close friends with her, but I always really liked Terry. She's a really, really good, nice person.
Hmm. Because I thought I heard at panels too that a lot of you Sailor Moon voice actors kind of live close to each other.
Oh yeah, I live close to, like, Linda's really close. Susan Roman is super close. Actually, for a long time, and I didn't even know this, right across the street from my house, it's like this weird, it looks like a big building. I don't know. Anyway, random. Karen Bernstein's worked there for like the last 7 years. So she
Wow.
walked out of the building. I'm like, why are you at my house? She's like, Katie, I work here. But she's not there now. They've moved. But how funny is that? So I don't know, for 5 years she was there and I never saw her. It's crazy.
So then, going back to that's like that time frame of Max and Ruby, and like when you were in the Care Bears movie, were you kind of working a lot with people that were in Sailor Moon too? On like,
I worked with everybody. Yeah, I did. It was a really long time ago. I did work. We've all worked together for a really long time. So yeah, when I was doing Max and Ruby, yeah, I worked with everybody. Linda was on Max and Ruby. Julie
mhm.
Lemieux. Yeah, I'm friends with all of them. I'm friends with, yeah, it's been a long time. So you work with the same people and you've known them for years.
And isn't I know one of your other roles that you like a lot is your role in Brace Face, because that was like a bad girl role again.
It was pretty fun. And it was my first series. That was my very first original series, animated series. So that was so fun. The Nina Harper, because it was coming off of Sailor Moon, so I'd never done anything else. And Sailor Moon was, so I didn't have any freedom really. I didn't have a lot of freedom because I had to say the words right when my mouth was moving. And then all of a sudden Nina Harper happened, and she was just not a very nice person, but super fun to play. And they let me just kind of have a lot of fun with her. So she has a very special place in my heart. Actually, I have a cell on my wall, a Nina Harper cell. What?
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I keep it right here in my kitchen. All right.
Yeah,
I don't want it. I have about 10 minutes left and then I have to go because I have an audition.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say, it's funny that you just showed that, because my main hobby is collecting like animation cells and animation artwork for anime.
Wow. That's
And
cool.
I have a sketch set of Ray that's drawn by the like Sailor Moon's highest quality character designer.
Ooh.
And it still
Yeah, nice.
yeah,
That's amazing.
it still looks really good for being from like 95, 96.
Yeah, nice. That's a score.
Have you ever been shown like Sailor Moon production art at conventions, or asked to sign anything of Ray?
I've been shown a million things of Ray, but not original. I don't think so. If I have, really, really rare that anyone has any kind of original art from it. It's usually just, posters and stuff that folks pick up at the Comic-Cons, or pictures that they've had from the 90s, actually, because
Oh yeah.
there was so much stuff back then that people just collected it and kept it. And so we do see I signed a lot of stuff. They really, really had tons of merchandise for Sailor Moon.
Yeah. From what I could look up too, it doesn't seem like you or Linda or Susan, if you guys have never been down here, because I'm in Minneapolis. It doesn't seem like
Oh,
you guys have ever been here for a convention. I know that like John Stalker has, but I don't think I've ever seen.
yeah.
I mean, so you guys have never been here for a convention?
No, but we would go. Not now because it's COVID times and everything's shut down. But yeah, we would. We totally would.
I was surprised considering it's just like right below.
I know. That's really weird. Yeah.
So I guess there's two other things I wanted to ask just quick.
Okay.
When you were in Totally Spies, were you always originally meant to be Alex, or did you ever audition for the other two girls?
So what happened with Totally Spies? They were originally recording in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The production company was Marathon, and they are based out of France. So they went to LA, and then I think they wanted to save some money, so they came up to Toronto. So they had to have a Canadian actor they had to replace two roles just for it to be legit. So I actually auditioned for all three parts. I auditioned for Sam but they knew they were gonna, like, I don't know. I think Alex was the one that they were really looking for.
Mm.
Because I don't think they would have replaced Jen Hale, and I don't think they would have replaced Andrea. I don't know. So unfortunately, Katie, the original Katie, there's another Katie Lee.
Yeah.
Played I don't know if is it Lee or Lee? It would be Lee.
Yeah.
Katie Lee. She was the original Alex. So I think it was just happenstance. She would have remained Alex, but they needed a Canadian, so she kind of got the unlucky draw there. So yeah, they had to replace Jerry, and then they replaced Alex. So I got lucky.
And I wanted you to say more about this.
Oh, you froze on me. You froze on me there.
Oh, can you still?
All right, you're back.
Okay.
You're back. Okay, what's the last one?
If you can talk more about this Grand Army.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Netflix. So this was kind of not something that I'm used to. It's a really gritty TV series. It's going to be on Netflix. And Beau Willimon, he did House of Cards and Gone Girl. He found this. So Katie Capiello created this. She's from New York, and she did this play called Slut. And it's like a huge world-renowned play. It got all kinds of acclaim, and she's amazing. And just about high school and slut shaming and all these things. So this Grand Army is a place in New York, and it's in Brooklyn, really, really kind of low-income place. And so it's a high school drama, very gritty, not for the faint of heart, but it's getting a lot of attention. So Rolling Stone, it's on their top 15 must-watch list.
Wow.
Teen Vogue, Time Magazine. Yeah, it's getting the kids. I'm not in the actual teaser for it, but I'm one of the grown-ups. So none of the grown-ups made it but I play the mom of one of the leads. So there's 5 characters that they follow around for their storylines, and it's pretty gritty.
That's cool it's cool to see you in something like that.
Yeah, I'm so nervous. I'm terrified because it's a lot of drama, and I'm used to comedy and silly stuff, and I don't know, my resume doesn't. So this was like a complete departure from anything I'm used to, and I really had to go to work for this, and I feel pretty confident that it's going to be a really good show.
Well,
I'm nervous.
You were in another kind of darker TV movie where you played Rob Lowe's girlfriend, though, I remember.
Yeah, I know. That was really dark because it was based on a true story. It was terrible. He was really funny. He's like one of the funniest people I've ever met. I'm not joking. He's like super funny. And he was really nice. We were going to do a baseball game, but my husband was like, there's going to be drama. If you go to a baseball game with Rob Lowe, people are you're going to be up on the screen. Then there's going to be like a big tabloids are going to say, who's the girl? So, but we didn't go because I guess someone wrote a book about him the last day we were shooting, and he was cranky. Not in a bad, like he was fine to everybody, but he was kind of hiding.
Well, thanks a lot. This was fun to do.
Yeah. Well, my pleasure. It was really nice chatting with you.
Yeah, I've been posting these up to YouTube after I do them, so I can send you the link once I have it up, and I'll like.
Yeah, send me the link for sure. Send me the link for sure. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, thanks.